You are now listening to Yoga Bliss, and I'm Shelly, your soul sister, friend. I'm a mama of three, a yoga teacher, a spiritual alchemist, a student of this thing called life. I'm here creating this collective of women to help us know that we are not alone in this thing called life, and that through different practices and through awakening to our heart centered selves, that we can truly, my lovely soul sisters, live the life that we have always dreamt of, because this is our life. And I am huge on embracing our healing journey, our inner health journey. And part of that is embracing even the ugly aspects of ourselves as we heal from our past. We move into the present, embracing this lovely life. I'm so grateful to be a part of your journey. I love you. Let's get to it.
Self care is listening to our bodies. It's so interesting because, I'm actually sitting here finally in my new set that I created. I had this vision of the new Yoga Bliss with Shelly and how I can grow it and just make it better. Because this quote in my bathroom saying, what does it say? It's you can't get something you've never had if you don't do something you've never done. And sometimes myself, I'm sure you might resonate with too, sometimes we just get stuck with we get stuck with doing things that are comfortable and just doing things the same way. But I really just felt this need. So I have this space. I'm here. And it was a really heavy day. Yesterday was my grandpa's funeral, life celebration at a Catholic church. And wow, it was a lot of energy. It was wonderful and sad, and it was so great to be around family, and then some family turbulence. And it's so interesting. I had this huge plan today. It's my day without kids. All kids are at school, or my daughter goes to a homeschool enrichment program. And so I finally get this set up, which I'm feeling really good about. I have all these lights behind you, and just like getting all the plants and the mat and aligning my pillows, which is so interesting. You would think like, oh, I put a lot into this, and then now I'm here, and I just made this practice for self-compassion, and I get ready to go rocking on my back and forth, and I just get this like crazy dizzy vertigo spell, which actually happened again when I was in Shavasana. And I was like, come on, body, what are you telling me? And self care is listening to your body. It's slowing down. So I had all these plans. I am creating a website, and I'm making this membership website, and I have all of these ideas for content that I'm creating. But here I am just sitting here because my brain is feeling like, a little wiggly. And I could actually probably take a nap right now, which is so crazy. But I'm looking at the clock, and T minus 45 minutes before I pick kids up. And wow, self care. What is self care, anyways? Is self care something that comes from the ego, or is it something that comes from that authentic part of ourselves? Really, when it comes down to it, is self care really does come from that authentic part of ourselves. We are so, my head is feeling funky. We're so trained that we always need to be doing things and producing things. And is this true? Does life equal what we make? Sometimes. Sitting at my grandpa's service, and my dad said this beautiful speech. It was lovely about his life. And then my grandpa's daughters, they got married. I think we were figuring out 40. Him and my Grammy married when they were 40. They were married for 50 years, and both of them made it to their 90th birthday, which is so lovely. And they made it to their 50th anniversary this year, which was crazy. And really just sitting there listening to these speeches that were given about my grandpa's life really helped me just open and reflect of, what is my legacy? What is it that I want to leave behind? What is I really feel we each have this very specific soul calling, soul purpose. And that can change over our lives. And I am just really opening to what is my soul purpose and what is it that I need to bring to the world. Because if today was my last day, would I feel like I gave everything my all? Would I feel like I allowed my soul to express fully and completely who I am? Sometimes I feel like yes, and others I feel like no. Sometimes you know how it gets, mamas out there. Sometimes it just gets so overwhelming with all of the everyday things in life that it's like, ah. But the key is to not allow that overwhelm to dominate us all the time. And I have been doing a lot of work with my sister, and she often on struggles with these thoughts about anxiety when it comes to medical issues. And we were doing a dowsing session. Dowsing is it's just this energetic way with pendulums, or you use L rods, some people use an Y rod. It's just a way of, I feel like it's almost like creating these energetic spaces, portals, whatever resonates with you, to open up and help remove energy that is no longer serving us. Especially, we have a lot of us get stuck in these low vibrational, non beneficial energies. And there's this scale when I'm doing a reading, and we have beneficial energies, which is a 0 is like really neutral, normal energy, to a +10 positive beneficial energy when we're feeling those really beautiful, like loving, joyful vibrations. We're allowing gratitude into our lives. And then there's between 0 and -10 non beneficial energy, that low vibrational energy. And it was so interesting yesterday at the church with all of the people and rows of, it was crazy. We were walking up to the front of the pew, or the front 5 pews, and they had it all 5 rows of like 2 giant rows of seats reserved for family. And as I was walking past, it was so interesting. My grandpa was 90. There was a sea of 80-plus-year-old people, and it was like, just all this different energy. And my daughter and I are very, I protected my energy as good as I could. I definitely did. Like, I called on light, and I brought light into my body, and I allowed it to wash through my chakras, and then I sent it down into the earth, and I brought it back up. And then I do this meditation where I allow this spiral of energy to fill up to the top of my head, and then I grow my bubble with love and gratitude and forgiveness sometimes. And I did that yesterday, but it was so interesting, the low energy of the room. And death is sad. It's very sad when someone passes away. Also, there's just this beauty and this freedom of the soul. And it's so interesting. The morning that my grandpa passed away, it was February 22nd of 2023, the year we're currently in. And it was a snow day for my kids. It was like snowing, and my dad called me and shared with me, and I felt this sadness. And then after I hung up with my dad, I went to the window, and it was snowing, and I could feel this expansiveness from my grandpa's spirit. I could just feel that it was free, and it was unchained and unbound, and it was no longer heavy and worn down by the 90-year-old body and all of the ailments that he had been experiencing. And it felt just like free. And it was so interesting because at the service yesterday, that low energy, I was talking about dowsing, and I get this like physical manifestation, as many of us. I started getting like the headache. I could feel that low energy. And also, I'm not a huge church person, and especially in a Catholic church, it just is not my vibe. And so I just kept sending love around the space, and it was just a time to just hold space for myself and my family. And then it's interesting because today we woke up, all of me and my family, and just everyone's just felt a little off. But the kids are at school. I'm still here showing up. I'm like, we're doing this. And I feel like it's just like showing up for what it is that we can, and even being flexible in these moments when we have these big plans. And like me, I'm like, I'm going to make all these courses and get all this stuff done and recorded. But that didn't, my body is feeling a little off. My brain is feeling a little wonky. I feel like if you've read Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, she has like a physical manifestation for everything, which I could go in the other room, but my body is legitimately feeling this like wonky dizziness in my brain that I'm like, I'm probably not going to get up. If I move too sharp to the left, it's not working out for me today. But it's like feeling dizzy. It's like our world is a perception, and it's like one moment everything can shift and spiral, and our perspective can change in one moment. Isn't that so interesting to think of? That we can choose to change our perspective of life in one moment. And I've just like been contemplating so much about life and our purpose and why we're here, and really taking these moments to nurture ourselves and to really tap into that space of intuition, to that Anya chakra, that space that just is intuition. Is that something that we even listen to anymore? I feel like with all of the work that I do, I'm like, yes, listen, intuition. I tune in. I do like these meditations. It's so easy though when we are not in alignment with those like really good feeling energies of gratitude and love to not listen to the intuition. That's the only time truly we can listen to our intuition, is when we have elevated our energies. And so many of us get so trapped up in fear and anxiety. And I'm especially just like, my heart has been going out big time for my sister who's been struggling really bad with health anxiety stuff. And oh, I hold space for it. And then in these moments, it's like, wow, it's crazy when your body does malfunction and do weird things. That does the mind wander, be like, oh gosh. And I feel like the pandemic too, it it definitely distorted a lot of our visions of like, oh my gosh, being around other people. And now people are doing their best to be normal, but it's so interesting the way that the world conditions us and moves us this way and moves us that way. And really, when it comes down to it, that we have to be sound in ourself and our inner practice. And talking about self-care, it's like those moments where we just like take time to tap in and to tune in and listen. And then even whatever, for me, it's this weird, I'm feeling this experience of this dizziness or a pounding headache, if that's coming to you, or a knee ache, or a hip pain, or a groin pain. I know I'm just wrapping up my period, and I get these really intense varicose vein throbs, and then I get these really intense groin pains, and then even like old butthole hemorrhoid pains, that the night that we were in the hotel that woke me up in the middle of the night, like a throbbing butt that I've only experienced one other time, that I had no idea what to do in my body but to make labor sounds. And it's interesting because our bodies, there's always communicating with us. Everything in our system is right, it's communicating with us. And it's interesting, I think of my sister, and she's been struggling with, if something like that happens to her, if she gets a groin pain, she gets this weird message to her brain that's like, oh my gosh, what's happening to me? I have a tumor. I am having a brain aneurysm. And what? It's interesting that the brain, and if we allow ourselves to be in this constant state of anxiety, this constant state of fear, the more we feed fear, the more it grows. Ah, isn't that crazy? The more we fear, the bigger it grows. It doesn't just go away. And what I was talking about earlier is with the dowsing system that I do at the end, there's this whole protocol, this procedure that you do to help cleanse and clear and move out energies and replace energies. And at the very end, you bless the person. And I always send love and light and gratitude. And then you wrap it up with, what you think about is what becomes the way that you feel. And the way that you feel is what you put into action, which is so interesting. Have you ever thought of that? Have you ever thought of that what you are thinking is causing what you are feeling? And then the way that you're feeling is how we're living through our lives. And I just have discovered this. Did you know that you can actually choose to rewire and reprogram the way you're feeling, your emotional states? Something I've been writing about in my book, The Empath Alchemist, which I'm feeling so excited about, is so we have feelings and emotions. I think of feelings are like the things that you're just like, oh, I'm feeling a little chilly right now, or think of an emotion as more of like that deep-seated sadness or deep-seated resentment or guilt towards someone. Emotions are things that we more store in our systems from childhood, from past lives, and feelings are things that we let just kind of come and go, right? Think of those times where you're just like all of a sudden just feeling and experiencing so much anger and you're like, I see this so much with my kids. They're just like full expressions of exactly what they want to be. And then just notice how in moments then it just goes. It's like, what? Where does that go? Where does that energy go? Where does that anger energy go? Sometimes we trap it down deep, 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 deep down in spaces here and even out here in this energy realm. And it's so funny. I have this white screen behind me and I'm like, that's so weird. I feel like I'm floating in the ethers. And then so those emotions are then what we wake up and we live every day with. And really ask yourself this question. I've really been pondering this a lot is what are the 5 emotions that I experience every day? I feel like anxiety comes up, overwhelm comes up, love. I do allow love in. I allow gratitude in. And then anger. Sometimes anger. I've really been working on that anger. And anger is deep-seated sadness, deep at its core, at its well. And so if you really can allow yourself the permission to like take a journal, this is really important. So think of our self-help personal growth journey. How many times have you heard something and thought, wow, that would be so cool? And then you just like blah, 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 let it go. How many times have you embarked on something and then gave up on it? And so when it comes to personal growth, our spiritual growth, our emotional growth, our physical growth, all of the growth, mental, emotional, health and well-being, that we actually have to do the things for them to actually help us. So if you want to help yourself, I really want you to get a journal. So make yourself do this. This is your self-care practice of this podcast, of this space, is to write what are the 5 emotions that I'm living on. And I might have had us do this in another episode, but really, we're doing it. Write it down. What are those 5 emotions? Okay, pause this if you need to. Write them down based on whatever. Are you feeling sad a lot? Are you living in anxiety every day? Are you feeling angry every day? Are you feeling bored a lot? Are you feeling stagnant and stuck? What are they? And then, okay, on one piece of paper that. Now, on a new piece of paper, what do you want to feel like? Or let's ask this question. What would it take for you to feel the way that you would like to feel? And maybe you don't even know the way that you would like to feel. Maybe you never even thought about that you can take control over the way that you're feeling. I would love to feel every day. I would love to wake up and feel loved and supported, connected to the universe, connected to my family and my friends, connected to the Yoga Bliss community, sharing, connecting, growing. That gives me goosebumps. Feeling just grateful, like at the core of who I am for all that is. Feeling, I would love to feel joyful, just allowing joy in, and even in these moments of connecting with you, just allow like that vibrantly alive peace. That's what joy is. Did you know that? Joy is just a vibrantly, just think of, I think of this as my soul color that I'm wearing, this like yellowy orange, vibrantly alive peace. It's this like sense of peace that radiates with happiness. Because I feel like I was on this like mission for a while there to be happy. I was like, okay, I want happiness. I want to be happy every day. And then I really never resonated with that. I always felt like I was failing at happiness. Did you ever feel like you're failing at happiness? many of us fail at happiness. Isn't it funny? It's something that's just like, you think one day you're going to arrive, you're going to have the house and your perfect car and your kids and your husband and your dogs and maybe even your career or your business of your dreams. And then what? That happiness, it's like there's still those stagnant feelings left with inside of us. And what if instead of happiness or that false pursuit of happiness, that we could shift and transmute that, alchemize that to allowing joy in, allowing love in, and gratitude. Those are more realistic and tangible things. The expectations that we put on our lives, we know they're really unrealistic. They're so unrealistic. I don't know if we're meant to be just this like, nah, happiness all the time. And even I'm getting ready to take this Tony Robbins training that I'm feeling like, so freaking fired up about. It's next weekend. It's going to be 4 solid days, 10 to 12-hour days. I'm going to be getting my butt handed to me, and I'm really excited. And my sister was going to do it with me, but then we realized it was during her kids' spring break. And so I'm going to do it, and it's from home, which is so exciting. And that's like another confirmation for me why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I'd love to have the availability for us to do our practices, to practice us, to take care of us on our own time and on someone else's time. Well, which I actually am, because this is a live event. Live events are super cool. I really appreciate pre-recorded things, so then we can do the things that we need to do on our own time. My beautiful soul sisters. So coming back to that exercise. So what would it take for you to feel those emotions? And maybe you resonate with some of the ones that I would like to feel. I feel like all of us want to feel free. We want to feel connected. We want to feel held, supported. We want to feel abundant and prosperous in our lives. We want to feel financially free. We want to feel financially fit. I love that. This is a new terminology I just heard. Financially fit. I feel like a lot of us were like, get so fit in our body and even our mind, our emotions too. We're fitting up our emotions and our finances too. What would it take to feel that way? And a visualization practice is so wonderful and so helpful. I'll do this practice where I was sharing with you, I bring that light into my body and I let it spiral around me, which I'm going to share. I'm going to do a guided video for you so you can have that with you. You can do that every day. And then we'll guide ourselves into, what does it feel like to be the woman of your dreams? What does it feel like to be her already? What does she wear? What does she do? What does her house feel like? What does her nails look like? What does it look like around dinner time? Do you ever think of that? Like, if I were to be living my dream life, like I think we all have these idealisms of like, okay, this is my dream life. Like, exactly what is it? I really had to break that down, because I definitely get stuck in this, like, I need to be working all the time and blah, 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 and then this isn't working or this isn't working. And I never really expanded on, what does it look outside of just working and making money? Because sometimes we get so stuck up in the, oh, we need to work all the time. And I know I have another sister, and it's like every time you ask her to do things, she's like, I have to work. And it's like, yes, we do have to work, but we also have to make fun time for play and enjoyment. And where do you see yourself in 5 years and 10 years? And Tony Robbins says that in 10 years, you're going to arrive. You're going to arrive in 10 years. Where are you going to arrive? Does 10 years feel like too much? That gives me goosebumps. I've been with my husband almost 20 years. I think of like, that's so crazy. Even 5 years. Do you think of 5 years down the line and in your life? Like, there's nothing more beautiful than when we can turn something like, I have the death of my grandpa, into growth, and how it can help guide us in our lives and to see into our futures. And what is it that I want for myself? What is it that I want for my family? How do I want to feel in my relationships? When I'm making dinner every night, is it like a stressful rat race? Is like my house always trashed? Am I like always coming home feeling frantic and yucky? It's time to make shifts and changes. And these start, my beautiful soul sisters, with little things. I think of in the future, I want to make enough money in abundance to buy my dream home. I see this vision of this beautiful dream home on land. I have this beautiful dream to create this healing center, to be doing what I'm doing here, and then to also maybe once a month, maybe a few times a year, have these huge retreats where people come from all over the world because I freaking love women, especially women. I work with women and doing these retreats. And then I see myself, I have a huge family, inviting all of my sisters and our extended families and going to like a beach vacation, or I want to go to Maui. My 20th anniversary is coming up. My 20th anniversary is coming up this coming December. What? I'm turning 40 this year. I'm turning 40 this year. Go big or go home. That I have, these are my dreams, and how amazing is it going to feel when I get to take all of my sisters and husbands and kids on a beach vacation and pay for everything, and that I get to help support women. One of my big dreams is growing this space so big that I get to give women jobs and I get to help support women and their family and helping them, and then I get to give back in whatever ways that I can. And even now we think of Tony Robbins just has been like such a beautiful mentor to me, and he said if you can't give 5 cents away on a dollar, then you're never going to be able to give away, if you have $100, $5 on that, or $1 million, $10,000, or whatever it is. That the other day we were driving down in the valley, and there was this homeless man, and he had this sign. And sometimes I get in the middle of between homeless people if they're really homeless or blah. It just felt right. And all I had was like $4 cash. And he said, I'm a dad with 3 kids. We need diapers and food. And of course, I was like, I have this $4. Get that out. It gives me goosebumps. And just taking that out and waiting at the stoplight. This guy's in the middle median, and just to me, just giving that, and whatever he took that for, giving back and sharing through that exchange of money, because money is something that is always coming. And even if it's something as small as whatever it is that you can give. And I know that in the past, I have loved, and I still love, creating things and making things and giving them to people, because it's just a way of to show how much you love, and then spreading it for people around you. And I used to make hats and scarves for people, and even malas have been something I love making. Malas is gifts, and I was selling them there for quite a while, which I love. I love making malas, but it's a lot to. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time. The crystals are really expensive, but I love making things, gifts, with just so much love, and then giving them. And so knowing that to create abundance and prosperity in your life, it has to start within here. We have to feel what it feels like to feel abundant in our life as it is. And so maybe you could just take a moment to look around, to notice what is it around you that you are just so freaking grateful for, that is so abundant in your life. What is it? I know it can be easy to focus on what isn't, but what is abundant and what is prosperous in your life? Is it your family? Always reach family and friends. Is it those people that you love so much? Or do you feel so grateful? Do you have so much abundance and prosperity in your life, in love, in food, in your refrigerator, in the nature surrounding you? Whenever I go outside, I just feel this immense gratitude for all of the abundant prosperity surrounding me. It's like, what? It's amazing. And when we really can allow ourselves to tap into that within us, and that's another way of taking care of ourselves, of nurturing ourselves, of caring for ourselves, because we have to heal what's in here to help heal this weird stuff. And it's so interesting, just me here talking to you. I started out this, as I was saying, I was having that really feeling dizzy feeling, and I'm feeling so much more grounded and amazing. And it just goes to show once again that it's so powerful when you share your authentic, vulnerable truth, my beautiful soul sisters. So what are ways today? So we talked about our emotional state, kind of coming back. We're going to wrap up here. That we had that exercise. Do this. I am your accountability buddy. I'm your accountability soul sister. What are the 5 emotions that you've been living on? Let's move past that. What are the 5 emotions that would light you up to feel like every day? What would make you feel like you were living your best dream life, best version of yourself, whatever that means for you? I know sometimes I used to get caught up on what's best self, highest self, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, what would it take for you to feel like you were just like taking your life and feeling like, dang, I've got this today. I love this. And even in your relationships with people, even with those people who annoy you. My husband and I, we've been together for so long. We often don't drive each other nuts, but we come back and I make sure that I'm connecting with him and that I make sure that I'm thinking, am I thinking positive thoughts about my husband? Sometimes I'm like, oh, I've been thinking really mean things about him. It happens. They annoy us. We annoy them. So coming back to those emotions that you want to, what do you want to feel like? Really, what do you want to feel like? Not what you're stuck feeling like, what do you want to feel like? I want to feel good here. I want to take control of my thoughts and my emotional state. That is such a great and a beautiful intention. And my soul sisters, know that anything that when you start setting it with a positive intention that comes from this heart, from this soul self, that is what you will manifest. It has to come from here though, not from just the ego, right? And that can be, I know how confusing it can be to get like lost between our ego and our heart self. And this beautiful soul, Rebecca Campbell, who I'm reading her book, Rise, Sister Rise. I'm going to do a book club on it soon. I'm finishing it up. But this was actually Letters to a Starseed, her other book. And she talks about what if we can weave the two elements and the two aspects of our soul and that ego, that expression of who we were put on this planet to be, instead of separating them, which feels so much better for me than to be like, how do I figure out if I'm from my ego or from my heart? Tapping back into what feels good and noticing in your body that when you are doing things and you are feeling good, that those are your soul callings. Those are your life purposes. And then when you're doing things that are maybe feeling, or I think of, I'm in my soul calling, doing my practice, I'm like rocking back and forth and feeling dizzy. I needed to stop and like take that self-care to be like, okay, Shelly, tune in. What's happening with you? It's time to listen to your body, Shelly. And not over listening to it. Sometimes, because of how my sister has been teaching me, is that it's this, I don't know if balance is the right word. Let's go with alignment, because balance is such a loaded thing, is finding this alignment between listening to our body and nurturing our body and not being so in fear of what our body is communicating. And there's nothing wrong with getting something checked out and being like, getting that peace of mind, like, okay, I am healthy, I am feeling good, or just trusting and nurturing yourself and taking a nap and making sure you're drinking lots of water and tuning into what are you actually eating? What have you eaten today? I'm actually really thinking, I've literally just eaten cashews and dates because I've been working all day. I haven't really like nurtured my body with a meal. Hello, that's where dizziness. I didn't take any of my supplements today or yesterday or this week. So remembering that we matter and that we have to take care of us. I know all of the excuses. And just remember when you can, give yourself accolades. I learned this when I was in I think it was like my freshman year of high school, or we would like snap our fingers at each other. Accolades. I learned it from a teacher long ago. And take care of you, listen to you, and mostly encourage you to just, what is it that you want to feel like? Really activate and open and set the intention to notice your emotional state. Notice when you are stuck in anxiety and you are stuck in fear and you are stuck in overwhelm, and notice that you can choose to realign. Realigning with, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking and worrying about everything? It's no matter that anxiety and overwhelm is plaguing most women. I know in all my work that I've done that most women are experiencing everyday anxiety and everyday overwhelm. It is very, very common, and know that there's nothing wrong with it. I experience it too. Anxiety and overwhelm is our way of protecting us. So when we can allow ourselves to feel that protection, right? We're like, okay, I notice you're protecting me, but you're not serving me. So I'm going to choose again. I'm going to reach for something outside of me. I'm going to reach for those feelings of feeling so grateful for the abundant prosperity circulating in my life. It's literally everywhere. Go outside. I dare you to not feel the abundance surrounding you. It's there. I love you. I'm so grateful for you. Please head over to iTunes and leave Yoga Bliss with Shelly a 5-star rating and a review. It means the universe to me. And I just love to hear what you need more of, what you're wanting, what you need in your life. And even if you're open to any practices, what is it that you need more of in your life? How can I help you? How can I serve you? I have so much goodness to give, and I'm just so grateful for this space. I'm grateful for you. You can follow me on Facebook, Shelly Bond, and Instagram now, Yoga Bliss with Shelly. And also, there's a Yoga Bliss with Shelly Gmail account, which is really exciting. And send me a message. Share this out. I love you. I'm so grateful for you. And please do share this with one woman that you know can use this message and ask her to do the same. And let's spiderweb it out. I love you. I'm so grateful for you. And remember, what is it that you want to feel like today? What is it that you want to own and feel today? I love you. I'm so grateful for you. I will be back here hanging out with you next week.